Welcome back to our coffee break video series on Firestop Special Inspection. If you're an architect, owner's rep, or a jurisdictional inspector, then this video series is for you. The last two videos in this series have covered the requirements of a special inspector to take and pass an exam on Firestop. And we gave you a few examples of tests that are listed in the ICC's manual. We've talked about the responsibilities of the building official, or the AHJ, and in this video, we'll talk about the responsibilities of the architect, or the RDP, which is the Registered Design Professional. Again, these are the responsibilities that are called out in the ICC Special Inspection Manual. There are additional requirements imposed by the inspection standards and the building codes, but we're not going to get into those during this coffee break. So here we are with our last Did You Know question. Did you know that the RDP is responsible for preparing a statement of special inspections, conducting a pre-construction meeting, reviewing the special inspections reports, and taking part in the submittal? Let's break this down and make it a little easier to digest. We can start with the statement of special inspections. That means that the RDP is to make a list of everything that the code requires to be subject to special inspection. Now, not all projects will require special inspection of Firestop. In fact, it's only required on high-rise, risk category 3 and 4. And if you're in New Jersey like I am, then it also includes class 1 buildings. But you should check with your own jurisdiction so that you know if there's any changes to the IBC, such as what we have in New Jersey. But this is the same statement that the AHJ is responsible for reviewing. The Special Inspection Manual also says that the RDP must conduct a pre-construction meeting. In some areas, that's not defined at all. There's no guidance on what should be discussed or even who needs to attend. If I'm doing a special inspection, I have my own requirements of what gets discussed in the meeting, and with the right team, it can be a game changer. If you're in Clark County, that's Las Vegas, baby, then there's a whole outline for the meeting and a list of who's required to attend. It's kind of cool to have that sort of guidance. Then there's no questions as to what's required. If you want to know what's on that list, you can probably Google it, or you can buy the ICC Special Inspection Manual, because whoever put that together thought that it was so cool that they actually included it in the manual. So what's required in that meeting can vary depending on where you are. What's discussed in the meeting can make or break a project. I'll give you a few examples in other videos, but we don't have time to cover that during this short coffee break. So there are two other things that the Special Inspection Manual requires of the RDP. They have to review the special inspection report. Now, it doesn't say that they confirm that they were received. It says review them. My assumption is that the RDP is responsible for ensuring that the reports conform with the requirements of the standard. So that kind of means that the RDP should know what the heck they're supposed to be looking for, right? Now, if you're talking about EIFS, rebar, or concrete, or so many other elements of special inspection, the individual is often required to be certified. So, in New Jersey anyhow, you can go to the state website and you see that Joe is certified to do rebar and concrete, and Sam is certified to do EIFS. That means Sam can't do concrete and Joe can't do EIFS, but can either one of them do Firestop? In New Jersey, an AHJ or an AOR just needs to go to the state website and see what certifications the inspector has, and it's easy to determine who can do what. Soils, piles, and Firestop are the unfortunate exception. The AHJ and the architect are responsible for verifying that the individual is capable and qualified, because those two people really need to have one more responsibility piled on them, right? The easy answer, as I see it, is to just ask the individual to show some certificate of training from the IFC, UL, or FM. But that doesn't guarantee that the reports are following the requirements laid out in the standard, which is why the RDP needs to review the reports. If you're responsible for this and you want more information, just reach out and I can get you those videos that'll go over just how to do that. Or you can go to the ASTM website, buy the standards, look through them, buy the ICC Special Inspection Manual, mix that all together with the building codes, and voila, it's that easy. The last thing on our list, the architect is responsible for reviewing the submittals. Now, this can be a bit of a touchy subject, so let me preface this discussion by saying I am not attempting to make anybody mad, but this discussion has done just that in the past. My goal is to open your eyes to something you may not be aware of. Now, I've taught close to 100 classes for architects, and from time to time, depending on the topic that we're covering, I ask the question, what do you look for when you're reviewing Firestop submittals? There are two things that stand out that I want to bring to your attention. One answer I often get is, we check to make sure that it meets the requirements. Well, that's pretty vague now, isn't it? Let's get a little more granular with this discussion. Let's say they make sure that it meets the right standard. Well, what standard is right. Your Firestop through penetrations are tested to ASTM E814. Your fire blocking might be tested to ASTM E84. They're both tested so you can use either one, right? Please tell me that you're not agreeing with that statement. These standards are different. They're very different. And if you need to know more on that, I can explain it later, but please know that just having it tested to a standard, this standard or that standard, or even making sure that you have a UL listed detail is not enough for a solid submittal review. But doing this right at the beginning of the project should guide your pre-construction meeting. I have a whole series on that that's invaluable for any GC or owner's rep that wants to get the Firestop done right from the beginning. And it's kind of awesome when it all comes together from the start. And that series is a big help if you want to make that happen. So if you need help with this, just give me a shout. I can help you. But I told you that there's 2 common comments that I get in several classes that I've done for architects, whether there's a team of 2 or a team of 2,000. I've heard the same answer. We never look at Firestop submittals. If that's the case in your firm, you're missing a huge opportunity and possibly taking a big risk. But here's another comment that I get when I ask engineers that same question. What do you look for when you're reviewing Firestop submittals? Some people tell me, I don't stamp the submittals reviewed, I stamp them accepted. That way, if there's anything missing, I'm not responsible. Now, let me preface my next comment by saying I'm not a lawyer. Let me also say I am not trying to upset anyone. I'm just sharing information. I've talked to legal experts who tell me it doesn't matter what you stamp on the submittal. You still bear fiduciary duty to your client. Unless you have some crazy contract agreement, you are responsible for reviewing the project documents, and that includes your Firestop submittals. So I don't know what your contract says, and if I'm honest, I don't care. All I care about is helping those of you who want to get Firestop done right to understand Firestop at a higher level so that together we can make a positive impact on the level of life safety on your projects. If that sounds corny, I can't help it. That is what I believe that we can do together. The more you learn, the better you can build. The better you build, the safer the community that you leave behind. So if you want to pass the buck, I can't stop you, but at least make sure that someone is picking up the pieces. If you want to do that right, let me know how I can help you. So with that, I will step off my soapbox and I will see you for your next coffee break.